There's a path of least resistance, and it's right in front of you, and you probably are very aware of what it is for you. But with so much conditioning and so many outside voices, it can be a bit challenging to choose that. Sometimes we think that we have to choose the path where we work really hard and we burn ourselves out, or we choose to fight, and we choose to stand up for ourselves, and we choose to, go the route of just dysregulation. But what's so special about this time on earth and about you being here right now is that there is another option, another way of living, and that is the path of least resistance. That is understanding that there's programming and conditioning on planet Earth that makes you think that it has to be harder. In that 3D place of survival, of where the planet has been operating for so long, it is all about, doing what you have to do to get where you have to get. And what I laugh about in some comments on these videos is just like, how I'm so young and naive and how I don't know anything. And, I can understand that projection and where that could be coming from. But at the same time, what I know to be true and what's allowing me to have this life of freedom and to be experiencing everything that I want to be experiencing in this perceived reality is that it doesn't have to be so hard. And when we talk about the concept of working, and we talk about, you don't actually have to work anymore, it's really a matter of understanding that what your soul came here to earth to do, might not feel like work. There's something out there for you. There is a timeline within the quantum field of a role that you get to play, a commitment, a habit, a lifestyle that you get to experience that lights you up, that opens the door for life force energy to come through. And when we all start waking up to this, as many as possible, then we get to help the earth change into its new way of operating. And whatever that might look like, of course, it's going to be different. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be unfamiliar. But that's life. That's life. And let's see if we can come down here. So often we stay where we are in life because we don't want to get uncomfortable, because the subconscious has told us that it's unsafe. And so the subconscious will make many scenarios of why we can't do the thing that we're called to doing, of why we can't take this path of least resistance. And that's because the subconscious doesn't want you happy, it wants you safe. And when you can wrap your mind, everything around that, and understand the role of the subconscious and its power and ability to create your reality, you can understand that everything that you're perceiving right now is a reflection of what's going on within you. And if the subconscious mind is saying that certain things like change and unfamiliar and ease and grace and happiness are unfamiliar, therefore unknown, therefore potentially unsafe, so we're going to choose to stay in this timeline, this way of being, this way of choosing. That's one way of living. But I think that you're in a place right now where you're very well aware of this going on. And I think that you can make this commitment to yourself, to challenge yourself, to choose to no longer believe in the unconscious, subconscious programming about lack, fear of money, fear of self-worth, like this self-worth that is not the truth of who you are. If the truth of who you are is unconditional love and infinite abundance, then everything that is not that is untrue. It's a lie. It's a lie that for whatever reason we have been programmed to believe is true about ourselves. But you are so capable of deconditioning that. And maybe that's why you came to Earth. Maybe you came to Earth to remember the truth of who you are and to get what you want. And so how do we do that? We start bringing in awareness around everything going on in your life. You'll start to notice the things in your life that are not feeling like the path of least resistance, that are feeling like you are trying so hard It could be a romantic relationship. It can be a job. It can be a living situation. It can be a friendship, right? It can be your career. Maybe you're trying so hard and you're like, why does this not work? Well, for me, I noticed that I was trying so hard in so many different businesses that I had going. My Etsy business, Amazon business, dog business, like dog watching, dog sitting business. I had many other ones too. And I was just like nonstop grinding all the time. I would finish my 9 to 5. I would feel so burnt out because that also felt like the path of resistance, because I was, being spoken to in a way and mistreated in a way and undervalued in a way that was a reflection of me and what I was having in my subconscious about my own self-worth and value. But I was choosing to do that, choosing to then grind after work and choosing to work so hard at making another business work, but I wasn't listening. Every time I go in and I say, what am I meant to learn here? Why is this happening this way? So often the message is you need to listen. And that means listening to your body, listening to your soul, listening to that gut feeling, that expansiveness that you get with certain things and that closed offness that you get with other things, listening to that. And what I discovered in that is when I thought about, okay, what is like my most ideal timeline for right now? My most ideal timeline would be traveling, living in a van, having my wonderful dog, Arlo, who you guys know so well. I put horses in that New Year's, but I had no idea I would end up here. And it looked like making YouTube videos. And it has looked like that for 10 years. And it looked like not editing YouTube videos and not like trying to do it the way that other people tell me I have to do it, which is like, editing and sound effects and blah, 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 and really like technical thumbnails that just like grab people and pull them in. It's like, no, actually, I know that the world is shifting. I know that the algorithm is actually very spiritual. I know that from my own personal experience of like thinking something or like going through something and not even knowing that I'm going through something, and then seeing a video randomly pop up and I'm like randomly called to click on it, and then I'm randomly finding everything I need for that chapter of my life. Like, it's such a spiritual process. I was like, it can be a spiritual process on my end too. And how wonderful does that sound to just make a video speaking from my heart, speaking about the lessons that I learned in this timeline and sharing them with people who understand and who are on the same page and going through the same things and experiencing synchronicities with me on these topics. Like, that sounds amazing. That lights me up. That sounds like the path of least resistance. I don't really like editing. I don't really like recording on a fancy camera, though I have them. I have the mics, I have the cameras, I have all the things. But I was like, that doesn't light me up. Sounds like a lot of work to get my laptop out and to edit. But, with that, other people like the editing process. And this is just an example. They like the editing process. They like, getting all technical with mics and different settings in the camera and blah, blah, blah. But I like this. And this is the path of least resistance for me. And this is working for me. And it's lighting me up and it's filling me with life force energy. And it's what I thought would be possible in some way when I was sitting in California and, deciding to quit my job, sell all my things, move to Europe, buy a van, travel. When I was choosing to do this and I was really getting honest, like, okay, day to day, what is the path of least resistance? And it is this. And so you have to ask yourself as well, what is your path of least resistance? Just visualize a day where you get to be living in the timeline that you choose, that you desire. And what is it that you're doing? Exactly what is it that you're doing? Are you chasing trends? Are you doing things? How are you doing things in a certain way? If you're posting online, I say chasing trends because so often in the online space, which I've been working in for a long time, even when it wasn't my own pages and stuff, I was doing marketing at my job. And so often with that, it's just like the feeling I personally would just be like it's so unauthentic. And one of the best things that I learned when I was first starting this YouTube channel, maybe some of you guys remember, was a study on authenticity and how when they put these people in this room with like no electromagnetic frequencies or anything, like no read other than the human body, they were able to see what was the most expansive emotion is what they called it. And it was authenticity. I don't know that that would be an emotion, but when someone was in their authenticity, they were able to read it and see that that was then affecting the other person in the room in a way that expanded them. And so when you choose to live your life of least resistance, the path of least resistance for yourself, when you choose to embody that and follow that and lean into that and no longer believe that it has to be harder than that, then you are in your authenticity, and then you light up other people. And when you're in your authenticity, that means you're in alignment with the truth of who you are, which means you're in alignment with abundance, with unconditional love, with acceptance. And that means that you have infinite possibilities available to you. You'll be able to manifest like this because you're in alignment with the things that are so true and so expansive. The things that block you from having your manifestations become real are the things that are the unconscious, the lack, the worry, the fear, the guilt, the shame, all the things that are not true, that are not the truth of who you truly are. And so when you get to a place of just accepting who you are and accepting that it can be easy and accepting that even though it's unfamiliar, this path of least resistance, this path of, just living the life that you want to live, like it's actually quite simple. But when you choose that, you get to have this reality that, other people are not going to quite understand. Maybe it'll be triggering to them, but you will support the earth in this evolution and in the direction that we're going in the planet shifting into this new earth energy, whatever you want to call it, 5G energy, new earth energy, just the next chapter. You get to be part of that by just being in your authenticity and choosing peace, choosing it to be simple, choosing to look at things in your outside world as it is what it is, at a level of acceptance. Here on the farm, there's so much going on. It's so beautiful. There's so many personalities, so many things that are happening and that are unknown and unseen and unresolved. But when you can take a step back at these situations, you can start to see it is what it is. There's always a solution. The solutions are already created for everyone, and we don't have to worry about it. And so whenever I'm in these things and I'm trying to help, find a solution with the team, I can choose to step back and say, okay, well, there already is a solution. It's not about finding it. It's about accepting everything that we are in right now, accepting where we're at, accepting this situation, accepting that there's a reason why this is happening in this way, and it will all make sense soon, and that the solution will come to us. And all we can do is move forward from a place of heart-centeredness, choose that path of least resistance, and not always listen to the outside world of how things should be done. And so I hope that makes sense. It's super relevant for today and my perceived reality, and I love this topic. And the farm has been so beautiful recently in the ways that a lot of really mindful people and individuals have been visiting and volunteering, and it's so nice to go deep into these conversations with others. And if you've been with me since Portugal, you'll remember I was trying to find the like-minded individuals, and I did, but in a way that I didn't really understand was what I was looking for. I thought I was looking for the yogi spiritual people, but what I ended up finding was people who love to just be, who love nature and animals, and have been through things but have allowed that to deepen their experience. And it's not necessarily people talking about breath work and ice baths and tantra, right? And all these different wonderful spiritual things. But what I've learned about spirituality in my own journey is that it doesn't have to be so complicated. It does not have to be so complicated. I feel like that's why I pulled back from a lot of these personal development books and spiritual books, and there's, I think, a time and place to get back into them, and I'm actually called to getting back into them sometime soon. Not quite yet, but for the past few months, it's really more so been about just being and simplifying it to the place of being of acceptance and knowing that it is what it is and that it doesn't have to be hard, and that life isn't always about improving yourself and going deeper and healing the roots and enriching, yeah, having a hard time finding words, making the soil more rich for your roots to pull in the nutrients. It's not always about that, or finding the root cause of health things and parasites and mycotoxins and, bacteria, virus, fungi, all these things. Like, yeah, but what if we just learn to bring everything through acceptance and, take the path of least resistance? I had someone on my podcast before, which I don't have right now. Maybe one day I'll start a podcast again. But what I loved about that episode with him was that he had this method of healing his body from Lyme disease he tried all these different things. He was in the hospital. No one could really give him the solutions that he needed. He was bedridden. And then he started this process of, visualizing the symptom that he was having and then like melting it into his heart space. And then he would just wait. After he brought it down into his heart space from the mind, something would appear in his mind. It would be, like I remember he said, a pencil showed up. And so he looked up, different things of pencils. I don't know, probably not lead, but whatever else is in pencils. And then found that that was actually a supplement that you could take. And then found that there was research on how that would help with Lyme disease. And the same thing, he was seeing a glass of wine. And so there was a certain component of red wine that he was also able to get in supplement form. And with those two things, whatever else he was finding in that process of going into his heart space, his acceptance, his unconditional love, his truth of who he is, he was able to see these things that were relatively simple after like years and years and years and years and years of being bedridden, hospitalized, and not having answers and suffering. He was able to go the easy route, the path of least resistance, by just checking in with his heart and being like, yo, what do I need? And then he was better. And when I met him, he was performing at a festival. He's a musician and he has kids, he has a wife, like he's just living a normal life, eating what he wants to eat. And so I think that ties this message together very well, is that it really doesn't have to be as difficult as you've been told that it has to be. Even if it's your doctor telling you that. I'm not saying don't listen to your doctor, definitely do what's best for you and your health and whatnot. But we give away our power so often to so many people who tell us that this is the way. But what I want to encourage you to ponder is just maybe how you already have all the answers, and how it doesn't have to be so difficult. And you don't have to try to keep fixing yourself. If you just try to accept yourself and lean into your heart space more and lean into that knowingness that is available to you at all times, you can live this life where you start to become familiar with the ease and the grace and the joy and the abundance and the love and the laughter and the adventure and the novelty and all the things that you want to experience in your human experience. So that's the message for today. If you like this one, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you are new here. Leave a comment if you feel called to do so. If you don't know what to say, we can say hello to the horse butts. And if you want to sign up for my programs, I have 21 days to know your divine guidance. That's where we go into our heart space. We call forward our angels and guides. We get to know them. We start asking from this heart space, how to, make decisions from our own truth and our own knowingness. And the next one is 21 days to rewire your mind, which is all about rewiring your mind, healing your nervous system, and stepping into your chosen timeline. These two things are the things that changed my life. All these exercises that I provide in the daily videos literally changed my life. The meditations that are in them, there's a daily meditation in both programs. And those are the meditations that I do in my own time. I just put them into words so that I could guide you through them as well. But they changed my entire life. And they got me to this place right now with you sharing this information in this video. So I invite you to those spaces if you feel called to do so. And you can also work one-on-one with me. I have that linked below as well. And I will still update you guys on the ladybug and all the 5 horses, on buying them. We did a GoFundMe. You guys helped me raise the money to save these 5 horses. And we're just waiting on that process. We're almost there. We have 3 contracts for 3 of the horses, and 2 of them we're still waiting on, and then we can sign. We can be done. The horses get to live here forever and ever and ever. Ladybug's doing well, baby in the belly, and I'm so excited to meet baby Chaos and to take you guys on that journey. Lastly, I will share, just so we can reflect on this one day, but there's a part of me, and so I love internal family systems, which I actually don't know much about. I just understand this concept. There's a part of me that wants to be here on the farm in Italy for a long time. and, see it through, build the wellness center here, have the retreats here. And there's also a part of me that maybe wants to try living somewhere else. There's a part of me that maybe says, like, it could be this, but it might be something else. And I'm trying to be open to that. And so we'll see. Part of me thinks that maybe it'll be in Ireland. My family has a farm there. We've had it for hundreds of years. It would need a lot of work, I think, but there's an idea that I have that I want to explore of, saving animals there and building the glamping tents and having retreats there in Ireland. But I don't know, maybe here, maybe there, maybe somewhere else, maybe back in California. We'll see what it's like to be back in California in September. And I'm visiting friends and family, and so I think that will give me a good perspective as well. It's always good to step out of your environment to get perspective. I love being on the farm, but every time I leave the farm, it really shows me so much about myself and how I'm feeling and what I want and how I miss the farm, how I love the farm, and that can go for anything. So if you need a break from something, it doesn't mean that you're leaving it. It means that you're just getting perspective on it. So all that being said, I will see you tomorrow. Bye.